I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 63, Choices. Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I just slipped away into my office. It's the evening time, and I've been coaching clients today and wanted to get this podcast recorded, did some coaching, and then I went and helped my 12-year-old twins. I don't know if I've mentioned I have twins. I have 12-year-old twin daughters, identical twin girls, and they have been in a cooking class for the past month or so, where they have a class every Tuesday evening, where it's through Zoom, live with an instructor, super fun. But I end up helping quite a bit. So I just helped them, and now here I am back here to record this podcast for you. Okay. So I hope that you are doing well. I hope the podcast continues to help you. For those that are new around here, thank you for being here and welcome. I love hearing from you. Thank you for those of you who have reached out. Thank you for those of you who have left me reviews. Just sending you so much gratitude and love. So today we're going to talk about choices. Okay. So when we go through infidelity, it can send us into crisis mode really quick. We can go from a 0 to a 10, especially when we had no clue that it was happening. No clue. We often feel victimized, hurt, and deeply betrayed. And we often feel very stuck, like the life we thought we had was just pulled out right from under us, and we have no choices. In this episode, I am going to talk about the choices you still have. What I have learned is that sometimes our minds need to just feel intense emotion to process what is happening, but there comes a time when we have replayed the stories again and again, continued to feel the hurt again and again, and felt the betrayal again and again by the thoughts that we continue to have, the images our minds presents to us, and we end up feeling freshly betrayed as if it's brand new. It's like we continue to punch ourselves in the face over and over with fresh pain. Today, I want to teach you about what to do when you notice your brain going down paths that lead to pain. I'll be using some analogies today, some analogies to teach this. And by the end, you should have a pretty good understanding of how to tell the difference between staying with your current thoughts and feelings or using tools to change the course of your thoughts and feelings. Okay? So first of all, I'm going to talk to you about your brain. Okay? Your brain is the greatest asset you have. It is only yours. It is worth more than any computer, any software, anything that exists. It's more powerful than anything that exists. Our brains have the ability to be elastic. We can change our thinking. We have the ability to learn, to expand, to change the way that we identify with the world, with our brain. I personally have invested literally thousands and thousands of dollars into my brain because I know that my brain will yield the greatest return on investment. So rather than taking money that I have and investing it, say, in some, stock options or things like that, I have found that the yield is much greater when I invest in the skill set that I need to learn to grow my brain, grow my capacity to make money myself, to create results, any result that I want. And to be fair, I actually do have some regular old investments, like stocks and things, but I have invested thousands and thousands of dollars into growing my brain, growing my coaching ability, growing my understanding of infidelity, growing. Like I could go on and on about all the things that I have invested in because I trust that me serving my brain in that way is my best bet. Okay. So today I'm going to teach you some things about your brain and how to invest in your brain. Okay. You've heard me say before that we have a higher brain and a lower brain, but today I'm going to use an analogy or two to really explain this deeply. Okay. So, someone named Dan Siegel used an analogy that I find really compelling that I want to share here. Okay. He has a great way of explaining the various functions of the brain in a way that makes sense, that is easy to understand. And then, as I do, I will be elaborating on it because that's what I do. Right. So, I'm using some of the basic analogy that he shared, and then I will be expanding on it. Okay. So here we go. Okay. Our brain is like a house. We have a downstairs and we have an upstairs. Okay. The downstairs is the part of the brain that when we are born, it is already completely developed. If all goes well, like if you're a healthy baby, that part of your brain is well developed. So the basement of this house, often referred to as the reptilian or primitive brain, contains the brainstem, the limbic region, and the amygdala. I always have a hard time saying that word. I hope I got it right. This part of the brain is responsible for basic human functioning, like basic gotta stay alive, breathing, blinking, heart beating, flinching, digestion. Okay. All of those things. So this little baby that's coming to me pretty soon, it is going to be this part of the brain that when she is born will instruct her to take a breath, that will instruct her to cry when she's hungry, keep her heart beating, to digest the food that she eats, things like that. Okay. This part of the brain is also responsible for our innate responses, which are to fight, flight, or freeze, right? This is the part of the brain that keeps us safe in that way. This part of the brain produces really strong emotions like anger and fear. Now, if you're thinking about a house, this part of the brain would look really boring. Okay. There's not a lot of light. It's a little dingy. It's where the necessities of the house are. Okay. So you're going to have a bathroom, maybe a dark, dingy one. You're going to have maybe a place to cook and prepare some food. You might have a place to do some laundry, place to eat, things like that. But that's about it. And it's going to be kind of dark, nothing fancy, not a lot of light. Okay. Okay. Let me move on to the upstairs brain, and then I'm going to come back to this. Okay. The upstairs brain is much more sophisticated than the downstairs brain. This is made of the cerebral cortex and all of its parts, including the prefrontal cortex, which you've probably heard me say before, which is located behind the forehead. This part of the brain is responsible for the higher order thinking and planning that we do. It is responsible for imagination, dreaming, analyzing, problem solving, decision making. The upstairs provides a bigger perspective of the world. This is where the windows are. Okay. This is where we emotionally regulate to have control over the body. When this part of our brain is working well, we are able to understand ourselves. We're able to live with awareness. We're able to feel empathy and understanding. This is where our values live. This is where we understand consequences and think before we act. This part of our brain is not fully developed until we are in our mid-20s. Does that explain anything to you about some of the things that kids do? It does to me, right? And even as grown adults where this part is fully developed, it's still a choice to hang out in this part of the brain. And I'm going to dive a lot into that, okay? So when we are hanging out in the upstairs brain, it might be light-filled. It might be more airy. We might have some skylights. We can see the world more clearly. We have a bigger view. There might be a nice office up here, a nice library filled with beautiful books. Might be a really beautiful bedroom that we love being in. Okay. It's this place that feels a little more clear. We might feel uncomfortable there sometimes, but we also have clarity, we have understanding, we see things a little bit differently or a lot differently from up there. Okay. Now, what if, for example, down in the basement, downstairs, there's a fire in the laundry room? Okay. What if the fire spreads to different parts of the basement? It happens without warning. It comes on super quick. You don't expect it. Now, you want to hurry and put the fire out because you already see that it has spread and you're afraid that it's going to consume all of you. So you want to hurry and put the fire out. Okay. Now, immediately after the fire happens, you might be really upset that a fire happened in your house. Okay. You might be really mad. You might look at a lot of loss. You might feel a lot of grief. You might want to find who was responsible for lighting this fire. Okay. Now, I talk about choices. Okay. How do you get back upstairs once the basement lit on fire? And why should you go back upstairs? Now, imagine this. Okay. Let's imagine that back down in that basement, the smoke alarm went off. You heard the smoke alarm. You went down there, and guess what? The basement's on fire. Okay. Now, what happens is this lower part of the brain wants to keep us alerted to the possibility of that getting on fire again. So you can imagine what might happen. Anytime you hear any kind of alarm, your brain will go back to the basement. The basement's on fire. Surely it's on fire. If you smell the slightest whiff of smoke, our brain will tell us that it's on fire. You're on fire. Okay. So again, how do you go back upstairs? It's through choosing to. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Our brains will give us all the drama about why we can't leave our post and that the house will surely burn down if we do. But it is actually through taking steps upstairs that we're able to access the part of our brain that will actually help us to move forward. So how do we do this? How do we get out of the basement and start moving up the stairs? So first, we choose to feel. We choose to sit with awareness. We choose to feel our emotion. We're not hiding in one corner of the basement, like the cellar. Okay, we're not hiding over there going, I hope it doesn't burn down again. I'm so afraid it's going to burn down. But you actually are coming out and you're stepping into that basement and you're really looking at it. You're actually really looking at the damage and feeling all the feelings that come up with seeing the damage. You smell it. You feel it. You see the damage. You are accepting that this is real, that this happened. Okay. Now, one of the ways that we keep ourselves in the basement is by thinking that it should not have happened, by stewing on who actually lit the fire. Why would they do that? Who did it? Who done it? Right? Who's responsible? Who can we blame? We keep ourselves in the basement by feeling sorry for ourselves that we are hanging out in a burned up basement that we did not light. We did not do it. But my friends, even though we can understand it and have compassion for that person that's stuck in their basement, this is how we are keeping ourselves stuck in the basement, in pain, and not moving forward. Okay? So let's say that you're ready to start moving up the stairs. Your brain will freak out. I promise you it will. It will tell you that it feels risky. It will tell you that you need to stay down there and to watch for any signs of danger. Okay? But when you understand that it's actually risky to stay in the basement as well, you might just find some motivation to take that first step. Okay? You might find the courage to take the first step. Okay, so let's say that you start climbing the stairs. You start going up. You start looking around. At first, the most important thing to do will be to see what thoughts and feelings send you right back down to the basement. Okay, you're going to look around and you're going to start paying attention to when I think about this, I go hide in the cellar. That's where I go. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this upstairs, downstairs analogy, but I'm going to hop to another one for a minute. Okay. When I talk about understanding your thoughts and feelings and which ones send you back to the basement, I'm going to talk about trains for just a second. Okay. Thoughts and feelings can be very much like hopping on a train. You have a circumstance that happens, thought comes up, you feel an emotion, and often what happens is we hop on this train and we ride that out. We ride out that thought, we ride out that feeling. Now, here's the problem is that that feeling will take us to the exact same destination every single time. Every time it's a dead end, every single time. But we keep hopping back on it because we're really just sure that this time it's going to take us somewhere new. We hop back on it because it's very familiar, because we know it really, really well. It is very well traveled. We know exactly how to hop on it. We know exactly when it ends. It's very predictable. Okay. So even though we don't love the ride and it's bumpy and we know where it takes us and we know it's not actually where we want to go, we keep getting on it. Okay. Same destination every single time. So going back up to our upstairs, that's what I'm talking about. It's identifying the thoughts, the feelings that are rehashing our pain, that are recreating the pain over and over. It's looking at how could he do this to me? Trying to continue to blame, trying to continue to hang out in despair and feeling like we have no choice and that we're just stuck. Okay, that'll send you to the same destination every time, which is in the darkest corner of the basement. Okay, so what to do? One of the things that our brain is going to tell us is that they should come get us out of the basement. He made this mess. Why shouldn't they come get me? Why shouldn't they come pull me out? But here's the truth, my friends. No one can do this except for you. Other people can really, really want it for you. Other people can really want to take you upstairs and show you around and show you your beautiful bedroom with the beautiful window of the view. But no one can get you there except for you. No one can carry you. No one can give you the words or the motivation that will be strong enough to get you to climb those stairs except for you. Because your primal brain is going to tell you that it's a major threat to go upstairs. Okay. Now, what somebody else can do, like a partner, is they can help you feel safer to come up. They can help you feel like it's safe to take some steps. They can show you that it's okay. And not only is it okay, but they're going to help you fix the basement. They're going to help clean it up. They're going to help rebuild it. But you and you alone have to choose to want to get out of the basement. Okay, so where do I see this? I see this with clients who have been stuck for a really long time, going to counseling, for example, for years and years. They're reading the books, they're doing the things, but they're not actually moving. Part of the reason why is because they haven't actually chosen to leave the false safety of the basement. They're outsourcing this work. They're hoping that they'll read the magical words or that they'll hear the magical podcast or hire the magical coach or therapist that's going to plop them from the downstairs to the upstairs. But unfortunately, we have to choose it. We have to choose that we want to do something different. Okay. Now, what does this something different look like? Another issue that my clients run into is that they simply do not know how to feel safe upstairs. They don't know how to feel safe climbing up the stairs. It's not a problem with them. Okay. It's not a problem with them. They're not broken. It's a skill problem. We have been taught a lot of theory about how we need to feel our feelings. We need to grow. We need to communicate all these things. But we often miss the most important part, which is how. How do I do it? Okay, so in this podcast, I have tackled a lot of things around the how. Some of these episodes go way back to the beginning. One is called Feeling Our Feelings. One is Using Feelings as Fuel. A couple are Learning to Trust, part 1 and part 2. Another is Believing New Things. And the last one is Creating Safety. All of those will help broaden your understanding of how you can learn to stay upstairs more frequently. But today I want to talk about one specific choice. I know it looks like this, okay? I know where this takes me every time, and I'm choosing something different. Okay? It is parenting your brain. It's saying, I know that when I go down this road, I know when I think this thought, I know when I allow myself to feel this is my cue. When I feel this, I'm hopping on that train. I'm getting on. And I'm believing that this time it's going to take me something different. But I know better. I know where this train leads. And I'm either going to get off or I'm going to go to the switch yard and get on a different track. I know that when I think these thoughts, when I choose to ruminate in the space, it throws me down to the basement. Okay, so what to do instead? There are lots of things you can do. Here's some suggestions, okay? You can lean into curiosity. Curiosity is powerful. Why is this coming up now? Where is this coming from? I feel tempted to go back down to the basement. Why? What's going on? What am I feeling? What am I feeling afraid of? What's actually going on? Okay. What do I want to believe and why? Going back to your why is really crucial. It makes the difference between the thing that keeps you moving up the stairs or staying up there or going back down to the basement. Okay. To climb even the first step, we have to have a pretty strong reason why we want to, or our brain will default to going back to the basement. Okay. Now, despite our best laid efforts, we're going to end up in the basement sometimes, and it's okay. This is what I want you to do. I want you to look around in the basement. I want you to become more acquainted with what it feels like there, what you do there, what results you repeat down there. Your why will help remind you to go back up the stairs. It will remind you that you're safe, and you will be able to move up and down the stairs faster than before. You'll grow your capacity to move through this cycle faster, especially when faced with things that feel really traumatic and really intensely painful. We tend to forget that we have options and choices. But my friends, we always do. We always do. You will not gather the information needed to make really clear decisions about what you want, about where you want to go, about who you want to be with or who you want to be, period, without moving to the upstairs, at least part of the time. When we are hanging out in the basement, our intelligence is shut down. It's offline. We're in survival mode in the basement. We're just trying to function and get through. The place you want to be is upstairs to make the decisions that will help you move forward and help you really understand what it is that you're choosing from a place of love, from a place of strength, from a place of courage, and not from fear and default thinking. Okay. So to wrap this up, where are you right now? What room of the house are you in? What step are you on the stairs? Or are you in the basement, or are you hanging out upstairs? Or do you find yourself going up and down the stairs multiple times a day and really wearing yourself out? It could be there too. I want you to decide right now, what's one decision I can make right now? What's one choice I can make right now in this very moment? What's one choice I can make in this moment that I will thank myself for later? You are worth it, my friends. You're worth choosing. Choose you. Choose your experience. Okay? Choose wanting more for yourself because you are worthy of it. Choose taking the steps up those stairs, moving your body and climbing. It will feel really uncomfortable. It will feel really hard, but you're worth it. Okay, that's what I have for you today. I will see you next week. All right, bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.